Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 3 of the Entrepreneur's Guide 2. This week, I'm so excited. We're interviewing Trevor Reagan. Now, Trevor Reagan is out here in Australia at the moment, but he's straight out of the US. He's the co-founder of Sabi Sushi, one of the world's first ever fast casual sushi restaurants. This is a company that one of his first companies that he started straight out of college in the States. He decided that, you know what, with his two best friends, we need to start something big. Got in touch with a Food Network chef. He tells the whole story from launching, testing the idea, very much about the lean startup methodology of start, test, review, test, go online, test. It's an amazing story and he iterates all the way through the process, right through to some amazing marketing techniques, think guerrilla marketing, a fashion flash mob. This is an awesome, awesome interview and I'm super excited. So Trevor, thanks for joining me in this interview. It's been a great one. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the show. Okay, so let's just get straight into it. So tell us about where you grew up and and what you were doing. Okay,
I grew up in Lander, Wyoming, which is just pretty much the middle of nowhere. And I went to school at Duke University out in North Carolina, and that's where I met up with Sean. And he's kind of the guy that I've done a lot of these businesses with, you know? So I went to school at Duke, and while I was there, I worked with the basketball team, and that was a great experience for me, working under Coach K, and that kind of inspired me to do my first project, and that was the championship basketball school.
Is this something that you started from scratch?
Yes, wow. that I did that on my own, and I ran that each summer in Lander, and it was just kind of a new take on a basketball camp, and I mean it's still going, and my brother runs it now. Now that I'm out here in Australia. So.
Yeah, is it so? How early was it in your college years?
It was after my first year at Duke. I started that, and it's been going since then every summer. So
yeah, well, yeah. Is that targeted at kids or people?
Yeah, that's like for all the kids in my hometown from like 4th grade all the way to people who have graduated high school, and it's like a basketball school that runs a month long each summer. That they come in, so. It's good.
So that was like a casual holiday project for you. You just did it because it was fun.
And then it kind of grew into something bigger than I ever thought, you know? Yeah. And another town actually contacted me to see if I could do it there. So that's something that kind of has legs now too. So
wow, that's awesome. Yeah. All right, so you started that, and that was a month-long project, and you continued doing that while you were there.
That was the first thing I started. And then I would say the next thing after that would be Sabi Sushi.
Yeah, so tell us the Sabi story, because this is ridiculous.
Sabi started as the typical just brainstorm that you have with your best friends, you know, where you're like, wouldn't it be awesome if we started a restaurant? And I mean, that's seriously how it started. Sean and I had tried sushi for the first time probably 2 weeks before this conversation. We're like, oh man, this stuff is good.
Wait, you'd never had it?
Never tried sushi in my life. Like, I was the guy that's like, oh, I never eat raw fish. And it was like one of our friends' birthday, and she's like, guys, just come, we're gonna eat sushi. And we tried it. Both of us are like, shit, this is delicious. And then literally 2 weeks after that, it was the conversation, let's start a sushi restaurant that's kind of like Subway, where people can make their own sushi rolls and pick the ingredients, and we make it right in front of them. Yeah. And we thought of that, and we're just like, that would be awesome. Like, college students would love that. And like, that's kind of where the idea began. Okay, so it started like that. So this is like this early stage, crazy ideas. And I know because we've all done this, where like we're sitting there and next thing we're spinning crap and it's flying around and it's nothing real. How did the whole concept of sushi become real? As in, for us, I think we took a class together, and it was called Getting Rich, which is like the sickest name for a class I've ever heard. And this is like the best class you can get into at Duke. And at one of the classes, the teacher was just talking, and she's like, does anyone have like an idea of something that they want to start? And Sean raised his hand. He's like, yeah, we were thinking about doing this. Like, we thought of this idea about a week ago. And she said some things, and then after class she approached us and she's like, guys, this is a great idea. Like, if you go talk to this guy, and send us out to talk to these different professors at Duke. She's like, one of these guys started a restaurant, one of these guys manages, like, just the Duke community is what did it for us. So she sent us out to meet these people, and from there it just kind of snowballed, you know. So you've got an idea, you've got people to talk to immediately. Yes.
how do you go from that to, and let's face it, this wasn't a typical restaurant launch. This is, you wanted to do different things here. So how did you go from there and just talking to people? And you probably talked to some traditional thinkers who've already done it.
Very traditional thinkers. So at first we were talking to people who had started restaurants, nothing in like the sushi space.
Yeah.
And so that went for about a month, and we were just like coming up with different ideas. We had no clue what we were doing at this point. Like we were already designing what the restaurant would look like, and we didn't even know how to make the food, if you know what I mean. Like there was really no process to it. It was just young people trying to chase a dream, right? And so at this time, another thing that was huge for us is each year Duke University has the Duke Startup Challenge, and it's run by the business school actually. And so it's like a year-long competition, and like the first part of it is like an elevator pitch, and then you do an executive summary. So there's like stages of creating a business.
Sure.
And so we entered into that just thinking like it would be fun. And
which is massive, just to take that immediate action.
Oh, yeah.
Which everyone falls at is like, that would be cool, and then do
exactly. And for us, it was just kind of a joke, you know. We're like, let's see what we can do, and it's a good like process to follow, you know, because so we started off and we ended up just winning every section of it. Like the elevator pitch was like, you get 2 minutes to say what you want, and we won that just because we could talk better than the other teams there, you know. And then from there we started to get more traction. And then, I mean, but still it was all talk because we had never worked in a restaurant. We didn't know anything about sushi. And so about a month before the finals of the startup challenge, we had been looking for like a chef to join us, right? And so we had traveled all around North Carolina interviewing chefs, and everyone we met was just like so traditional, or so like they wouldn't even give us the time of day because we were young, and they really didn't believe in us. And so like nothing was really working on that front. Like we had to get some sort of restaurant and sushi knowledge behind the concept, or we knew it was, you know, toast. And about a month before the finals, Sean and I had skipped class and we were just watching TV, and on the TiVo it popped up like one of those suggestion things, and it's like sushi throwdown on the Food Network, and we're like, oh, okay, let's watch it, at least we can learn some stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And so we're watching this, and there's this awesome sushi chef. He's a celebrity, one of the biggest chefs in the world. His name is Philip Yee. And we're watching it and we're like, that's the type of guy we need. He was so passionate. And just, he loved everything about sushi. He had devoted his life to it. But you could see that he was not so traditional as the other people that we saw. And we're both just like...
Well, he was on TV.
He's on TV.
Already
he's joking around. You could tell he's just like an awesome person, you know? And we're both just like, we need somebody like that. And so... swear to God, after the episode, we just Googled his number, Philip Yee number. And the first thing that came up, I just dialed it up. And I was expecting nothing, and just it did. And, you know, I kind of got used to, like, going to meetings and no one taking me seriously. So I dialed the number. Someone answered, and I just go, I need to talk to Philip Yee. How can I make that happen? And the guy on the other line goes, this is Philip, what do you need? And I'm just like, first I about like shit my pants. It's like, hi, this is Trevor. And he's like, okay. And so we just kind of went right into the pitch. And at first he's like, how did you get my number? Or where are you, who are you guys? And he goes, I'll tell you what, I'm a little bit busy, but put some stuff together and call me in a few days. Send it, here's my email. Send through like a plan of what you're thinking, just so I can look through it on my own. And so we put that together for him. 2 days later, we called him and discussed it a little more. And he was still a little iffy about it because he's like, guys, like, sushi is my life. And it seems like what you guys are trying to do is cheapen it. And like that was his initial thought. Because of the way we're doing it. It was going to be more of a fast food, Subway style thing. But then we explained to him, like, what we're doing is bringing quality sushi to the masses. That was the idea. Not to cheapen it, but like, let's find a way for Philip's kick-ass sushi to be made available to everyday people that don't have time to go spend an hour to get sushi, you know?
Yeah, sure.
And so once we explained that, he was on board, and then we just decided to fly him out to Duke. And so he came out there and spent 4 days with us, and we just got drunk with him. And by the end of the 4 days, we were all best friends, and he's like, I'm going to do this for you. No contracts, no nothing. You have my word. I have your back, whatever you need.
Wow.
And so then he actually let each one of us go live with him in the summer for like a month. and let us train in the restaurant, live on his couch. And I mean, for us, that's when it became real. And having him on our side made the story so much more appealing, and all of a sudden we could get the meetings with the investors. We could get the meetings with the people that work at Chipotle, the executives there. And I honestly think because of that too, we ended up winning the final of the Duke Startup Challenge, which gave us, it was like $30,000 in prize money and an MBA intern for 6 months. It was just huge. And as soon as that happened, it was real. We had the money. There was no reason not to do it.
So you had the money. You had the endorser who was basically on staff. I want to just go back. That phone call, it's like, I want to talk to Philip. How do I make this happen? It must have been a crazy moment. It must have been ridiculous.
And at the time, it didn't seem like anything special. It was just me kind of wanting to talk to someone, right? And the coolest part is when he had flown out to Duke, it was like his last day, and we had already decided we're doing it together. And he like looks at us, he's like, you know why I am doing this? And we're like, well, what? It's because you like the idea? He's like, no, it's not because of the idea. It's because of you guys. And he's like, the moment that I heard your voice on the phone say, how can I make that happen? He's like, I fucking got that. He's like, I've been in your shoes. He's like, I've been homeless. I've been a salesman. I've been through some shit in my life before I got to where I am. And he's like, I heard that in your voice, and as soon as I heard that, I decided, like, I'm gonna fucking do it with these guys. And it was just like, wow. Like, it's amazing to think of just that attitude is something that you can put out there and other people can relate to. And that was what got us, you know? It wasn't the bullshit, like, pamphlets we were putting together. It wasn't the emails we were sending to him. It was just the passion, you know? And then if you fast forward to the finals of the startup challenges, I mean, we were competing against business school people that were making a new lithium battery, making a new like way to do eye surgery, and we ended up winning that. And the judges said the same thing. It's like, when you guys talk, you had the passion. We saw that this is something that you were gonna do. Like, this was your life, and that's why you guys won. And so like that, for me, was one of the biggest takeaways, is like, if you're gonna do a startup, make it something that you give a shit about. Like, for us, that was our life. Like, we were skipping class. It was all about Sabi. Like, what could we do? And it was me and Sean and Dan. He was the third guy. We lived together. It was our life, you know? And because we had that passion and energy behind it, that's what got us Philip. That's what won the competition. Because people see that. When you're sitting in a meeting and they can see, like, look, this is all I fucking think about. Like, I am passionate about this. People get
it's
that.
not just a PowerPoint presentation.
Exactly. And it's not, we're not doing this to make money. We're doing this like three best friends trying to chase a dream, you know?
So, okay, so let's fast forward then. So you've got him on board, everything's like running smoothly, there's cash sitting there ready to be spent. What made it different, or what made it unique, the actual project that you undertook? And we can smash through this pretty quickly, but where did you end up with that project?
Okay, so for us, it's like, we still had no idea what it meant to start a business. We were just following the path, like, okay, we have an idea, we have a chef, we need money, okay, now let's find a location. And so we decided to move out to Colorado. We graduated Duke after we won the startup challenge. And the three of us just packed up my car and drove to Colorado.
How far was that for you?
It's about a 30-hour drive.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it was a serious road trip. A lot of bonding going on.
Yeah, I bet.
So we get to Colorado and live in my aunt's basement for a couple months, and we're seriously here. We're like, okay, we have an idea and stuff, but we need a location. But we didn't know how to do that. We would just go around looking at stuff, whatever. And so we had a couple meetings with landlords, and this was kind of the big eye-opener for us, is like, because we're so young and not a proven concept, they were expecting like you to sign a 10-year lease, put like $500,000 deposit down on it. It's just something that would have just absolutely like killed us if it wasn't to work. But we still believed in the concept, and so at this point was kind of the first gut check of like, wow, is this like, we're gonna need to be taking money from our families, we're gonna put all of our savings into this, is that worth it? And that was kind of, for me, the moment when I was like, fuck, the restaurant industry sucks. It's like, yeah, the big guys can play this game because they got the money, they can get the great locations, but for a newcomer to put their life on the line for a new location on an unproven concept, like, yeah, I believe in this shit, but if it doesn't work, I'm fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, that was kind of what was going on in the back of our head at that point. And we were actually entered into another business plan competition called the Mass Challenge. And this is like the world's largest business plan competition. And it was in Boston. And so I was actually in Colorado meeting a landlord to almost finalize a lease at this point. And Sean and Dan were in Boston. And this is where they met John Prendergast. And he was our mentor. And so they were talking to him about, you know, like, here's what we're thinking. And he's like, are you ready to put your life on the line on something that you haven't proven, you know? Like, is there a way that you can test this concept to see if there's legs before you put your 3 lives and your family's lives on the line? And that was kind of the moment when we just discovered the lean startup.
And you're talking Eric Ries.
Eric Ries, like, so this is, we immediately like dove into that. We read the book, we watched all of his talks, and for us it clicked. It's like, that is how you start. Like, that's when we finally figured out, like, that's how you fucking do it. You know what I mean? It's like, be lean. Figure out if there's a market for your product. Don't build your product and then just sell it to people. Talk to people and see what they want. Because like, his thing is like, you could spend so much money building a product, but if no one wants it, what did you do, you know? Like, spend the time to see what people want first. And so we're like, oh shit, that's genius, you know?
Why am I signing a 10-year lease when I can do something now?
Is there a way to figure out if people will like this without putting any money down? And so that's when we came up, like, the unique part of Sabi for us was we created the first ever online restaurant. So we canceled all negotiations with the normal leases and said, okay, let's be lean. How can we test our product without putting money in? And so we went to downtown Denver, where there was a shitload of buildings and like, it was kind of the business district. We found a commissary kitchen that we could rent by the hour. No contracts, you rent it by the hour, right? So if we needed it 2 hours, we got it, right? So we found that, and then we created a website that was just a menu. You could click what you want, and it was our sushi rolls. You could click what you want, and it would send it to our computer in our commissary kitchen. And so we set it up so we would just deliver sushi, right?
There was no restaurant.
No restaurant involved.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we flipped it. It's like, what do people in the restaurant industry spend their money on? It's the location, it's the lease, it's all that bullshit. The build out alone costs $500,000. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. So we eliminated all of that, and it just became the food and the customer, right? Because that's all that matters. Like, what's your number one assumption with starting a restaurant? People will eat our food. How can you figure that out without having to put in $1 million this way? So we did delivery only, and we would just go to like businesses within a building and say, we're starting this restaurant, we'll give you free lunch today. Like, go on our website.
That is truly lean startup.
Exactly. It's free. Go on the website so you see how it works. We're gonna bring it to you, deliver it, like, do the normal process, and then all we need is feedback. And so that's how it started. We just go to businesses at a time and do their lunch for them, and then pretty soon.
And they loved that, did like
absolutely. People love free food, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing that we had going for us was the sushi really did kick the shit out of any sushi I've ever had. Philip's recipes were amazing.
And was he actually working with you there?
He came out for the first month to get it set up, make sure everything's good. So he was living on our couch for a month, like this famous sushi chef. Like that's why it was so good.
Because he could have done anything. He could have been like, in the Hilton.
He's had offers from anyone. And he's like, you have no idea how many offers I've had to partner with people. And I'm here with you guys, living on your couch in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I don't know, that just speaks to how awesome of a person he is. So we started off giving it away for free, and then it just kind of blew up. Like, people loved it. And we ended up just coming up with pretty innovative ways to do the delivery. So we divided the downtown into 3 sections, and we called them drop zones. Because we're like, we don't want to be a normal delivery place with a fucking delivery driver, like a pizza place, you know? So we came up with the drop zone method. and that was like we had a guy in each zone of the city, and we had a driver that was going on loop from the kitchen on the loop, so nothing could ever be late. When he was at the kitchen, we gave him all the orders, and he'd drop it at the zones, so nothing was delayed. Like normal delivery, if someone takes 20 minutes to come get their shit, the next deliveries are late, right?
Yeah.
And so this way, nothing was late. So people would order, and we'd say, it's there in 15 minutes at drop zone 1.
And it would absolutely always be
every
there.
time, nothing will delay that. And people are like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And so we started kicking ass. We got on TV at this point. The Denver Post picked us up. We were featured on CNN Money. Like, we got a lot of traction just because of the way we did it, you know. The restaurant without a restaurant is a pretty catchy thing. And so, I mean, it pretty much just blew up. Like, it was huge in Denver. And we were profitable after the first month. And
well, it's not hard to be when you haven't sunk 500 grand in physical
and so,
courses.
I mean, it was amazing, you know. We started the whole thing all in with like all the food costs, the hourly rent, the website. We spent about 10 grand on it.
Yeah.
And like compare that to the 750,000 to $1 million we would have spent on a normal restaurant.
And and you're able to fully test an idea from start to finish.
And you could test the menu. It was so lean.
Yeah.
We could test so many different things. Like, do we even like half of our business before was like, yeah, we'll have sushi and salads. We put a salad on the menu and no one ordered it. We took the salad off the menu.
Yeah,
you know?
You're not making something that you're sending.
It was nothing, you know. And
log into WordPress and delete the post.
It was beautiful how lean it was. And I mean, that for us was like when everything clicked. Like we saw like what it actually meant to be lean and how much you could learn. And in the end, we learned this, which saved our asses. People loved the sushi. They loved eating sushi for lunch, but they would only do it about once a month. And for us, that wasn't enough, you know? Like that wasn't enough to put the money into a normal restaurant.
Yeah.
And I think America's a bit different for where they're at with sushi. I see it's a lot more popular here. I think it would absolutely kill here. But we learned the number one thing, like at this point in time, people aren't ready for fast casual sushi. And we learned that we made money learning that lesson. You know what I mean? Rather than learning that lesson after we built the restaurant, after we sunk all the money in.
When it's too late.
And then what are you gonna do? You know? You're stuck. So it's just like for me, like the number one advice I give someone who wanted to start their thing is read the Lean Startup and think about how you can apply that to every single thing you can do. Like there's so many examples. Like when we were making the website, we're like, yeah, it'd be awesome if people could chat in their order, just like just a chat, and we'll chat them. It's easy to chat to a bunch of people, and so we started down the road of like, okay, how are we gonna build this? Let's like
because you're really building custom functionality.
Exactly.
Here.
So let's build that. And then one day we're like, how could we be leaner about that? Let's test to see if that even works. And so we spent 5 minutes doing a test where Sean was on a computer, and then the four of us were typing in orders. And we realized you can't do it. Like it doesn't work. And like that's something we could have put money in, but instead of we tested it first, you know? So I mean the Lean Startup can be applied to everything you do in life.
Sure.
And for us it honestly saved our life, you know? Because we learned such a valuable thing from it so early on without sinking in the money. And for Sabi it ended up, you know, like it was something that we really enjoyed. And we probably could have even pursued the restaurant without a restaurant and grew that concept. But we got to a point where we realized this isn't what we love. Working in a restaurant, working in a kitchen wasn't the dream. Building something, fucking great. Yeah. Sitting in a kitchen all day making sushi, not that fun. Not the dream. Yeah. And so the three of us decided we all kind of were passionate about other things and decided to close it up. But it was honestly the most valuable 2 years ever. It's helped me get everything I've got, you know.
So let's talk about then. So based on that, we know how the sushi restaurant went. Tell me about the whole Do What You Do campaign.
The best part of it for me was the Do What You Do campaign, and it kind of started like Sean and I and Dan would spend a lot of time just thinking of like, okay, the restaurant industry is pretty stale. Like everyone does like they design their shit the same way. Like how can we absolutely disrupt everything here? Let's rethink even napkins. Like what can we do different? And so one of those conversations we were talking about like a slogan, right? And every restaurant's like, oh, we're fast, affordable, fresh, whatever. It's some combo of those type of words. Delicious. Yeah. And so we're like, let's do something that is kind of like a rally cry, something that people can relate to, and something that will empower people. And so we came up with the phrase, do what you do. And for us, it was kind of like our motto, and everything that we had accomplished with Sabi was because of that attitude. We stayed true to who we were. We wanted to be cool and bold and outwork people. And those attitudes are what got us filled, like having that passion, you know? So we look back on everything that we had accomplished and realized the do what you do attitude was absolutely like what got us there. Yeah. And it was something that we wanted to be known for for the rest of the time, you know? So we decided to make that the slogan. And so for us, we started out just wanting to show what do what you do meant, not just being like, yeah, do what you do is the slogan. It's on the wall.
The logo.
Check that out. That's sick. Yeah. We were just like, how can we show people what this means? What do what you do is about? And so we started a bunch of different campaigns, and the first one is we got about 10,000 of these bands and just started giving them out to people on campus, you know? And so pretty soon everyone had them, and no one knew what it meant. It looks cool. It's a cool phrase. And so we're like, all right, how can we come up with something crazy to give meaning to these bands? So we decided to do the first ever flash fashion show. Yes. So what we did is like, okay, do what you do. Let's find people that are passionate about something. We met a girl, she's like, I love fashion. Yeah. But I have no way to really pursue that because I'm a uni student, you know? It's like I study a lot and there's really nothing to do with fashion here, you know? And we said, all right, like let's come up with an idea. Let's throw a flash fashion show. So what we did is we found the biggest lecture on campus. Yes. It was Intro to Marketing. Yes, it's always the most popular. Perfect. So we found this lecture and we're like, okay, let's figure out a way to hijack this lecture. And
just halfway through a class.
Yes. Okay. So what we did is we got, her name is Carrie, the fashion girl. We said, okay, let's get you 30 models from all around the school. They don't have to be super models. Let's just get everyday girls that want to have fun with this. And let's go find a thrift shop to donate some clothes. We're not going to take them, but let us outfit the models and borrow the clothes. Sure. And so we got all the parts in place. We got 30 models. The thrift store donated all the clothes. We had it all together. And so she came up. She got to spend 2 days outfitting the models and doing her thing. She absolutely loved that, right? And so in the meantime, me and Sean and Dan worked on like, okay, how are we gonna get into this lecture? How are we gonna like hijack the speaker system? Like, it was great. So, I mean, we did it. So one day, it was during the class, and the night before I had gone in and we had hooked up my iPod to the speaker system, and we hacked into the projector too. Wow. And so halfway through the lecture, we had all of our models just sitting in the class. Like, it's a huge lecture, so they wouldn't have noticed anything suspicious. Right in. Yeah. And so halfway through the lecture, I just hit play on the iPod, and music came on, and everyone's just like, what the hell is happening? And our first model popped up and walked right down to the front and posed. And then pretty soon another one, and we just flooded it and had a fashion show. And
everyone's sitting there going, what the hell is going on?
No one had any idea what was going on. But it was awesome because on the projector it said, Sabi Sushi, do what you do. And like, that was the background. And that video went viral immediately on campus. Like the first day we had 20,000 views or something. Wow. And finally it gave meaning to these because like all the models had those, and the phrase, the people saw it again, you know? And for us, that was unreal. That campaign, or that event, we got like 6 interns from it. We got 20,000 YouTube views. We got picked up in the Boulder newspaper, the Denver newspaper, and the student newspaper. Wow. And those are our customers, you know? Those
and it all pointed straight to Sabi.
Everything funneled down to Sabi, but we didn't hit them, like we didn't start like, we're a restaurant doing this. It's like, no, it's about do what you do. This is Carrie, she's sick, and we want to show people her talent. Yeah. And give her a way to do that. So it was something that people could be like, fuck, that's awesome. Who is behind this? Not like hitting them over the head with like, we're a restaurant.
Here's sushi. Like, eat our sushi. Yeah.
You know? So we let people find out who was behind it rather than just like putting everything up. You know?
And you tried that style of campaign for multiple people.
Oh yeah. We did it with we found an artist and we found an awesome like wall for him, and he did a mural of Einstein. And we all we did with him is made a video. We didn't even throw an event. We made an awesome video that told his story, and that thing got picked up by the Denver News, I don't know, Channel 4 News or something, and that aired, and he ended up getting contacts in New York, flying him out to New York to do a t-shirt design for them and attend events there. So it just blew up for him. So for us, like the Do What You Do campaign became, let's find cool people and allow Sabi to be their platform to do their thing and get recognized and then do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
Because that's what it did for us. It's like Sean is a businessman. He loves to build businesses. I am like a creative type that likes to market and tell stories and relate to people. And Sabi allowed each one of us to do that. You know what I mean? It was the platform for us to do what we did. So let's share the platform. And then it became, okay, it's a platform for Philip to share his sushi recipes with the world. It's a platform for this young architect who's 24 years old, he's already a professor at Harvard, but no one will let him do his own project because he's 24 years old. We gave him full freedom, and he designed the sickest restaurant design I've ever seen. Yeah. You know, like, let Sabi be this platform to let people do what you do. And it was such a powerful slogan, and I think a lot of people really related to it, and it was really effective for us to have something that meant something.
So this was never really about sushi. This was about, I'm passionate about, for you being a creative and just like giving people awesome experiences. For Sean, it was like way more about the business and like I want to like literally like create something awesome that people love. What's next?
For us, I mean, we have been thinking of business ideas. Like him and I were randomly assigned to be roommates first year at Duke.
Wow.
Like that's how we met. And seriously, since that first week, we've thought of so many ideas of what we want to do together. And so after Sabi, we both actually moved out here to Australia, and we did the business and development and marketing for a mining company, actually, an energy company. And so we did that for a year, and it was fun to kind of be in a business. Like they had the money, we didn't have to like scrap by, but we could still use our creative ideas. And so it was like the same type of thing as Sabi, but just a different level. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so it was fun for us to do that for a year, and then after a year of that, we both decided, again, this isn't the dream, great experience, but let's find something else. And so since then, he's moved to San Francisco, and he's working at a place called the Monkey Inferno, which
I've got an interview lined up. I'm excited.
You need to talk to him about that. It's absolutely awesome. And I'm looking at joining maybe a creative agency. Sure. And there's a couple other options we have, but seriously, once a week we have a Skype session where we brainstorm more ideas, and we have a lot of things that I think we'll get to. But right now, like a major thing we learned with the things that we've experienced is you absolutely have to love what you're doing, and if you don't, quit. Like you can monetize something that you love. Don't worry about that. Just do what you're passionate about. And so for us, it was like, when it was time to close up Sabi, we felt bad, like, oh, but what about the fans and all this stuff, you know? But then looking back, it's like, we didn't love it. Like, I don't feel bad about closing that. It's a great move. We don't feel bad about working for a year in this mining company and then moving on to something else. If you're not passionate about it, why waste your time with it, you know? Because to make something work, you have to put your heart and soul into it, and you can't do that unless it's what you really, really love to do.
It comes down to time. Like I only want to do what I truly care about, and I can do that now.
Exactly.
Like especially with the internet, it's enabled me to do whatever I like, and that's what's awesome about this.
And I think anyone can do that. So it's like, for us, that's what we learned. And right now, it's like, let's keep trying different things until we find what we're passionate about. So, I mean, that's what we're doing. But in the end, we'll definitely start another business together. You know that.
Awesome. Can't wait.
100%.
Can't wait. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That was my interview with Trevor Reagan, the co-founder of Sabi Sushi. What a legend he is. Some great stories, high quality action points. If nothing else, you've got to go and read The Lean Startup after watching that one. I'm Matt Kelly. This has been the Entrepreneur's Guide 2. For more information, go to theentrepreneur'sguide2.com. You can get me at twitter.com/Matthew Kelly. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube. Whatever you like, just remember that this world requires your action. So step up, take that ideal life that you're looking for, take action today, and we'll see you very, very soon.